This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We both lost babies to SIDS in winter 2021.
In the throes of grief, I reached out to a stranger on the internet and our friendship was born.
In the years since, we've been working hard to survive, rebuild, and navigate the continual challenges that have come our way, including divorce,
Job loss,
dating while bereaved,
moving multiple times,
health scares,
pregnancy and parenting a living child,
starting new jobs, and so much more.
We are tired.
Happily ever after is out of the question for us, but this podcast documents our journeys to happier ever after because we believe life after loss is worth living.
So join us as we laugh, cry until we laugh.
Welcome to As Long as I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
We don't have a sponsor for this week's episode, but first of all, if you'd like to sponsor an episode, you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/ALAIL podcast. You can do that there. But we did want to shout out one of our monthly subscribers this month. And that subscriber that we're going to shout out is
Angelina,
Henry's mom. Shout out to Angelina, Henry's mom.
Thank you so much, Angelina, for being a monthly subscriber. Your donation makes it possible for us to keep this episode going. So we are really, really appreciative. Every month, I think you give us $5, and that adds up and makes it so we can continue to do what we love. Angelina, I will also say you are a dear and wonderful, wonderful friend, and thank you for checking on me. And my favorite thing about Angelina is she listens to the episode every Monday and gives me her thoughts.
I mean, literally, she listens like the minute it comes out.
And she'll send me a text and she's like, this is what I thought. And I'm like, okay.
She messages the podcast, Instagram. She texts Judith, and sometimes she also texts me.
and I love it because I'm like, okay, if Angelina likes it, it's good. If Angelina doesn't really send me a text, then I'm like, oh, not the best episode. Angelina, thank you for being such a wonderful friend, and thank you for subscribing. Okay, so Alina, you start. You had your 20-week anatomy scan, and you also celebrated Prime Day.
Yeah, guys, it's been a big week for me on the pregnancy after loss front. I'm 19 weeks and 5 days pregnant. I had my anatomy scan. Everything went great. I have one not great air quotes thing, which is that I have a marginal cord insertion. So the cord is at the edge of my placenta instead of in the center of my placenta. But that basically means I get extra monitoring, and they're gonna monitor it. So this is like, the doctor was like very confused why I wasn't stressed out about this. He was like, some people would be really anxious about that. And I was like, doesn't this just mean that you're gonna monitor me like very closely? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, good, sounds great.
Well, what's the downsides? What would they just need to make sure the baby's getting enough nutrients?
Exactly. So the thing that could happen is intrauterine growth restriction, IUGR. But that's like, I'm going to get ultrasounds constantly to make sure that she's growing. And if she stops growing, then we'll do steroids and deliver early and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So it's not something where it goes from normal to like dead in the span of a day. So like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And so I get, extra monitoring for that, which is great. I'm also getting extra monitoring. So I'm being treated as high risk, both because of the marginal cord insertion, but even aside from that, because I have a history of sudden cardiac death in my family because of Quinn. And then I'm having like so many appointments and this doctor in this pregnancy that I did not have last time. I have a cardiologist, I got all this stuff, but I'm being very closely monitored. I've got a great team, and I actually feel so much better heading into the second half of my pregnancy because I have such a better plan for being monitored and getting extra heartbeat checks. Although now I'm feeling her move more, so it feels less stressful. But the other thing that I've been complaining about is I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I have an anterior placenta, so it took a long time for me to feel her move regularly. And that was extremely anxiety inducing for me because I felt Quinn very, very, very early. And so that was really hard. But I'm now finally starting to feel her move regularly, which is so
relieving,
wonderful, and a relief. Exactly. So I'm feeling significantly better heading into the second half of the pregnancy with a good anatomy scan behind me. I bought some baby things yesterday.
Yeah, so tell me about that process for you.
So it's Prime Day, Amazon Prime Day, and I had started the process of making a baby registry not necessarily for like people to give gifts, although I do think people will give us gifts, but like for our families and stuff, but to make a list for myself. And you get the registry completion discount and whatever. So I had started making registry and I logged in yesterday to, I forget, maybe to add something, Judith, that you and I were talking about, to like add the hatch or something. I don't know what I did. I logged in and I noticed that a bunch of the big ticket items were on a major sale yesterday because of Prime Day. And I said to my husband, I was like, I literally said to him, I was like, I have a problem. He was like, what's your problem? And I was like, baby stuff is on sale. And the part of me that cares about saving money feels like I should buy it. And he was like, okay, then you should buy it. And I was like, but the part of me that's traumatized is telling me that I shouldn't buy anything. And he was like, ah, yes. I see.
Yes, that side of you.
And so we talked about it a little bit. I talked to you a little bit about it. And I came to the conclusion that I was going to buy some stuff. And I did. I placed a big order.
And what did you buy?
Let's see. I bought the Owlet monitor and sock, which was great.
And how much did you get off?
Oh my God, like over $100 off.
That's amazing.
Like $90 off. I know. It was great.
Wow.
I know. I bought the total order. I'm not going to say exactly the total order number amount because it was big. And I also bought some stuff that we needed for a house, like a vacuum cleaner and stuff. But like the amount of money I saved was 30% on the total amount of my cart.
Okay.
And it was a significant amount of money. And I gotta tell you, like, it was kind of exciting. Like, I felt like excited. Like, I was like picturing her like using some of these things.
Wow.
I know. And you know what else is so funny too is like there were a lot of the things that I bought yesterday that were things where I was like, well, even if she dies, I'll need this. Like I sent Judith a screenshot of the footprint kit, and I was like, well, I need to buy this now because if she's stillborn, I need to get her footprints anyway. So,
That is true.
but there were also very much things. I'm trying to think like of something that I bought that was very much a leap of faith. I can't think of something, but I bought like some things that were very much.
I mean, we were talking about buying a stroller.
I know.
I might have talked you out of it because I wasn't enthusiastic about the stroller you chose, but
Yeah, but I'm taking it all under advisement, and I'll order whatever stroller I want to order at whatever point I decide to order the stroller.
I know. Unfortunately, you're not influenced by me enough.
But I am influenced by you on many things. I added many things to my registry and took things off at your
Okay.
recommendation. So yeah, it was a big day.
That's a big day.
Yeah.
You know, to me, the things that are probably, I wonder how you will feel about more are like not necessarily the big things, but the things that are like custom to her.
Well, I'll tell you right now, something that stresses me out, which is so dumb, is diapers. And I know that's like so silly, but I just remember having all these. I had just restocked on diapers when he died. And so I just had like a closet full of diapers. And like that stresses me out. I've also like, I know I need to buy like things like Aquaphor and like whatever. And I'm like, should I buy the big container of baby soap? Like, because if he dies, then I'm going to have a big container of baby soap. I mean, sorry, if she dies.
You know what, Alina? Let me buy that for you. Someone did that for me because I had the exact same thought process, and somebody bought me the first pack of diapers, like a box of newborn and one diapers. Someone bought me soap. Someone bought me pacifiers. Like those little things were honestly a lot harder for me than the bigger things. So let me pass on.
Well, because it feels like those things are like the big things. I'm like, well, even if this baby dies, I'm going to have a baby. So like, I'll use the Owlet, with another baby. But like, I don't know, like I'm going to throw out the Aquaphor if I'm not going to keep a tub of Aquaphor for an entire year if the baby dies, like I obviously threw out Quinn's Aquaphor. So like that feels hard, but also I'm still very early in the pregnancy. I'm not even considering buying things like diapers and baby wash, but just like that's a thing.
No, I know. I had a really hard time with that stuff too. It was almost like I could imagine in theory that there would be a baby, but I couldn't imagine that there would be a baby that would need a diaper or soap, or I was so attached to the fact that Aiden only used some of the detergent.
Yeah, we talked about that in an episode.
So I was like, I don't want to buy laundry detergent So it's like there are certain things that were marked the shortness of his life.
Yes.
And the car seat did not mark it didn't mark time.
Yes.
Strollers don't mark time in the way that diapers and soap and Aquaphor marks time.
Oh my God, you're so spot on.
And so I feel like those things were much harder for me. And in terms of clothes, it was hard for me too. I think I really struggled with the clothes because I was like, well, what if I need it back? What if this baby dies and I need it back? What do I do? Like what am I going to do with the clothes? I don't want all this extra clothes. But you know what, Alina, you're lucky because you're getting my clothes and I'll just take it back. And if something happens and she dies and you want it back again, like we'll just,
Yeah, we'll make it work.
You know where it's coming from. You know where it's going.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't want to be stuck with all this clothes that had. If something happens, I will take the clothes back.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Or you can keep it.
Yeah. I like things are definitely like moving and shaking. Literally, the baby's moving and shaking, and also like I'm telling my work I'm pregnant next week. I've picked out, well, I don't actually, the paint color I haven't quite decided yet, but I've picked out like some big nursery things, and we're gonna swap my office out of what will be the nursery and into the guest room. I literally put it on the calendar when we're gonna do it next Saturday because like it's gonna feel like a momentous occasion. I know it will, and like it's gonna be very noticeable for me because I'm changing where I work. Like I've worked in this exact spot every day since I moved here, and now like I'm having a baby, so I'm changing the spot I'm working. Like it all just feels like a lot.
And you don't want to keep the colors of the walls the same?
No.
Okay.
Although I have never even considered that I would keep the color. I could keep the colors on the walls the same.
Well, I wonder if you bring the rug in the room and see how the rug looks with that. It might look nice.
That has never even occurred to me.
It might look really nice. I don't know if this color's in the rug. Is it a little bit or no, not at all?
I'm not sure. Good idea.
This would be a nice color for the baby's room. It's a nice like maroon.
You're right. That has never even occurred to me.
I think it would be nice.
I will try that.
Show me the rug.
I will not right now. We're recording for the podcast, but I will. I need to take a better picture of it for you.
Okay.
It's so cute. Yeah, I ordered a rug. That was the first thing I ordered for the nursery. I ordered the rug, and we love the rug.
Let me tell you something. If you're trying to figure out how to design a room, my grandmother was an interior designer, and she always said start at the bottom. So first start with the floors and work your way up. So when we decorated this nursery, we started with the rug. With my daughter, I ended with the rug, and it was a horrible shit show, and I don't recommend it. Start at the bottom.
So basically, feeling good. I think that the anatomy scan definitely felt like a weight off my shoulders. I also had a really, really, really bad couple of weeks, and I usually find that after a really bad couple of weeks, I have a really good couple of weeks. So I feel like this fits the pattern, and I'm just gonna coast and feel good for a couple of weeks, and then I'll start to feel anxious about something else in a little bit, and we'll see what happens there. So that's the update with me.
That's a good update.
Yeah.
I have a lot of updates that I don't even know how to start.
Well, listeners are very curious about how it's going at home with baby boy.
Yeah, that's so nice of our listeners to ask.
I know. They really care.
I have baby boy. What should we call him? I have an idea of a name we should call him, because for my daughter, I always say my daughter, but that's easy because my daughter,
yeah.
I think we should call this baby Rocky on the podcast.
Okay, great. I love that.
Thank you.
Rocky. That's adorable. That's not his name, listeners, by the way.
That's not his name, but
I think that's very cute. Let's do it.
Okay, so baby Rocky came home, and he's 7 weeks today.
Oh my gosh.
Yesterday, I don't know what day it is, and I don't know how much to get into, but here's what I'll say. My husband is considering maybe making a career change. Not considering. My husband is making a career change. And
the sense of relief he seems to feel about that
decision is palpable.
Is great. It is wonderful. It's also challenging.
It's challenging because we have a couple of kids, and maybe now is not the most ideal time to be starting a new career path. And by the way, it's not clear what that career path is going to be. So I say he has to eat, pray, love, but not so much praying. He's got to do some soul searching. to determine what that path looks like for him. But yes, that he has decided he wants to find a new path. So the good news is he's definitely around more because he has a little bit more free time now. And I know many of you guys were wondering how he's going to be with baby Rocky because he had such a hard time with my daughter. And I have to say, one of the things that has been so beautiful and wonderful to see is his healing and his growth, because he is exactly the way he was with Aiden, like fully engaged. He's like, he takes the baby to the pediatrician. He knows how many ounces he eats. When he's crying, oh my God, the craziest thing happened yesterday. We were driving him and my daughter I went back to work, so he's going in the nanny chair. It's a long story. We were dropping them off for school in the morning, and they were both screaming in the back seat, both of them. Okay, now what my daughter was screaming because she didn't like the Frozen song we put on. My son was screaming because
he's a baby.
And I was like, I can't handle this. Like, this is insane. And my husband goes, Judith, they're alive. Like, that's how, and now I don't have to worry about them. Like, I hear them screaming. He's like, it's all about perspective. That's literally what he said. He's like, this doesn't bother me at all. And like, this is someone who, when my daughter was born, he couldn't even be in the same, he had to wear headphones because he couldn't handle hearing her cry. And he could not hold her if she was crying for months. Okay, and now here we were with two screaming kids,
and she was a baby, so you can imagine how impactful to their lives that was.
Yes. And I used to tense up every time she would cry because I was like, oh my God, I have to get her to stop crying because he can't handle her crying. And it was this whole shit show. And now here I was like being like, they're driving me crazy. I can't drive like this. And my husband being like, oh, but they're just kids. Like, they're just crying. Babies cry. And being like, this means they're alive. How amazing that we have two alive children that are crying at the same time. Now I don't have to look behind me to make sure they're breathing because I know they're breathing because they're crying. And in terms of like with my daughter, he really was only able to do one thing. And that one thing was like bath time and bedtime. But now he does everything. So I think that made me feel so good because I didn't know if it would ever be possible. Ever.
Yeah.
I never knew. And I just didn't believe that he could even enjoy it, you know, the baby stage. But he enjoys it. And I'm just saying this because I just couldn't have believed it. But, you know, we have the owlet, and some nights, like if the baby's wearing an outfit and his pants are already on, like some nights I won't put it on or he won't put it on until like midnight.
Wow. I thought you were going to say not at all. And I was like,
no, but like around midnight, like when we do that first feed or whatever, if we have to change his diaper, then we'll put it on. But from 7 to midnight, he's raw dogging it. And, and for someone who's been through SIDS, like that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And then he started going to this nanny share. So he's at another person's house sleeping. And
Rocky has gone to the nanny share, not your husband.
Sorry, Rocky has gone to the nanny share. And I gave the nanny the lecture. I was like, I am not an anxious parent, but there's one thing I'm very anxious about, and it's sleep. So I want to talk to you about what safe sleep looks like in my household, because my rules might look different from whatever rules you know before. And I said, I'm telling you this for me, not for you. I know you know some of this stuff already, but then I walked out the door and I did it. I walked out the door.
You did it. You walked out the door.
I walked out the door.
And you've gone back to work.
And I've gone back to work. And there are moments, okay, I have so many things to say. It's kind of good that we're doing this episode because I actually think like I owe everyone a little bit of an update. My life has been so hard for so long. It has been so unbelievably hard for so long. I mean, obviously when Aiden died, it was the hardest, but the year following would have been the worst year of my life if it had not been preceded by my son dying. The year following that would have been the worst year of my life had it not been preceded by the year it followed. The year after that would have been the worst year of my life had it not been. So now we're in the fourth year of each year being the worst years of my life. It's only marginally better. Obviously my daughter has been a huge light and love, and that has been a happy time in my life. But in the course of the year, that section of my life, these have been the worst 4 years of my entire life. And I don't even want to say that as like, I don't even think that describes it enough. I don't think that's comparing it to my life. Like I would say these have been the worst 4 years in probably
a lot of people's
lives.
A
lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point is just to say that to have, and things are still not easy. Like I said, my husband is making this transition, and that is obviously complicated. But I did not believe the other night we were sitting at dinner. It was 5 o'clock, and dinner was cooking, and my husband was playing on the floor with my daughter, and I was holding Rocky, feeding him, and I looked around the house, and the dog was sitting on her stair. She always sits on the stairs, and I felt in the house a happiness that had not ever been there. It was so calm.
Someone actually asked specifically because you talked about after your daughter was born that you felt like you brought her home to a sad house.
Yeah. But my son is coming home to a house that is healed
A joyful house.
or healing. We've got shit to figure out. The feeling in the air is not of crisis. It's, I live in a house where my husband can hold the baby and we can have a dance party before bed. And I kid you not, have never had that in my entire life. And I did not think I was deserving of that. And I feel like that's something that's also come up for me. I recently had this work situation where I was handed an incredible opportunity at the perfect time that solved a lot of problems for me. And I said to the person who helped me get that opportunity, I didn't think I deserved it. It wasn't like a conscious thought. It's not like I ever said to myself, like, you're not good enough. But when so many bad things happen to you so many times in a row and everything is so hard,
It just starts to feel like that's your lot in life.
you start to internalize this message that my life will always be hard and somehow I made a bad choice, or I am not good, or I am not worthy, or I am being punished, and that's why all these bad things are happening to me. And to have something good and sweet happen to me with no ulterior motives and with no bumps in the road, and just like have something amazing handed to me on a silver platter, my first reaction was like, me, I'm not worthy of this. I don't deserve good things. What's the catch? Something must be the catch, because I cannot just have good. It always comes with bad, always. So I am telling myself, consciously reminding myself that I deserve good things. I deserve a happy house. I deserve a husband.
And not only that you deserve good things, but like we shouldn't have to work so hard for the good things too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they just come. I feel like we've been like working so hard.
I have been working so hard.
And like holding on, trying desperately to make the good things happen. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But like a couple of good things have just kind of fallen into our laps
Without a lot of
recently.
effort. Like, that's the thing. The way you ended up where you are now with your pregnancy, and where I am with this job thing, it didn't take effort. It landed in our laps.
Yeah.
And when you've been just in a situation where everything comes so hard, I'm spending a lot of time reminding myself that I'm worthy and deserving of good things too. And there's not always a catch. And I'm trying to allow myself to just be happy. I'm trying to allow myself to enjoy it. Not everything has to be bad. This baby can be good. And my baby Rocky can be good. It doesn't have to be complicated. I think when my daughter was born and things were so hard and so bad, it was like my safe space, because I was like, oh yes, of course, it's bad. It's so hard. She was perfect, but it was like, oh, of course things are hard.
Right.
Obviously things are hard. But to have something not be hard, to just enjoy it, like, this is a new space for me. So having those moments where like I look around my house and it's like no one's in crisis. It's like really hard to explain like how that's dreams come true, but like this is my dream. I am living in my dream come true era, even though my husband things are complicated with his job future, and even though my son is just entering the SIDS risk window, I am still allowing myself to feel that. That's one thing. And then in terms of Aiden, like another thing I've been feeling, it's the strangest feeling. I have this nagging feeling all the time. Like let's say, I'll give you back to that example where my husband was playing with my daughter on the floor and I was holding Rocky, feeding him dinner. And when I'm like, oh, there's one more. Where is he? I'll have this mental count in my head where it's like, okay, dog is here, baby is here, daughter is here. Okay, is everyone here? Is everyone here? And then I'm like, why? Like it happens all the time. So subconsciously, it's where you're doing like this mental check. It's like everyone where they should be. And then I'm like, no, Judith, Aiden is dead. But he was never alive when my daughter was alive. So I don't know why all of a sudden having a second alive child, where all of a sudden I just feel like something is constantly missing. I just feel like there's this. Does that make any sense? It's like you look around and you're like, okay, everyone's here. And then I keep thinking
It doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
but it does make sense. And I will say I haven't experienced that, but I wonder if I will at any point.
But it's weird to me because it didn't happen.
I know you didn't have it with your
I didn't have it
daughter.
with my daughter. I think it's like a thing where when the more children you have, the more your brain is divided up into like, pie of pizza. It's like, does that pie have what it needs? That piece have what it needs? All these things need.
Someone on Instagram, there's an Instagram account called One Night Closer. Her daughter Darby died, and she posts a lot about how she has 4 living kids, 3 who were born before Darby, then Darby who died, and then her subsequent living daughter so 4 alive, 1 who died. And she talks a lot about how she's constantly like counting kids and there's always one missing.
Yes. I would be super curious if anyone else has had multiple kids after loss, if they have felt this nagging sense of like someone's missing, and in a way that they didn't before. Like I think it's a thing when there's more than one kid, because when there's one kid, you look at the kid, you're like, oh, you're here. But when there's multiple kids, it's like one's upstairs, one's downstairs. Like you're always kind of like accounting for who's where and what, And then here's what will happen every time. I'll be like, okay, the baby's in my arms. Oh, okay, baby's here. Check. Then I'll be like, my daughter. Oh, my daughter's downstairs on the trampoline. Check. Okay, who am I missing? The dog? Oh, where's the dog? Oh, the dog's in my bed. Okay, dog is here. Check. Okay, next person. Someone's missing. Why do I feel like someone's missing? Where is that person? Oh, it's Aiden. Oh, he's dead. Okay, check.
Oh, he's in a grave in Los Angeles.
But it's so weird. Is that interesting?
I think that is really interesting. I think it's super interesting. And also, it also makes me think that it's not that you forgot he existed or you forgot he was dead, but like, I think you've integrated his loss to the point that you're like, I think for a while their death is so present that you couldn't possibly forget where he is.
Yes.
And now it's like things are integrated. So things feel air quotes normal. So you're like counting and then you're like, oh, right, he's dead. Again, not that at any point ever we consciously forget they're dead, but like the first thought in your mind, literally right at the front of your brain, is he's dead, 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 he's dead. And now it's not that anymore.
Well, I imagine it like a phantom limb or something.
Yes.
It's like at first you're obviously aware of the fact that you don't have a leg, but then you have like prosthetic leg and you like get around and you do your thing and whatever. But then I can imagine there are people who have prosthetic legs that like for a second everything feels like it's operating as it should. And then you're like, wait, what? Something's off, I think it's amazing. To me, it's just like unbelievable how attached mothers and babies are to one another, and how even when I'm not consciously thinking, where is my child, my body, my heart, my mind, my soul is constantly aware and looking for the fact that I have another child. And I think it does not make me sad. I think it's beautiful. Like, I don't know how the biology of it works, but like, I just think it's incredible that without a conscious thought, subconsciously, my body is always looking for his, my heart is looking for his, my mind is looking for him. And I love that. I could never forget my child. Obviously, like, that's what I would say. Like, it's not that I don't think anyone thinks. I'm just saying that even if I wanted to, biologically, I cannot. Even if I wanted to, my brain does not allow me to, because it is looking for him. And here's another thing that I want to say, and then I can wrap up my part, which is that I've been spending a lot of time with normal moms because there's these four women that I'm one of them, so 3 others. We all had boys within a couple months of each other, and they're all on leave. I'm the only one back at work, but I'm still allowed, I'm available to meet up for coffee in the afternoon. And I I could talk all day about what it feels like to be a lost mom in the context of non-lost moms. And I could talk about how I feel interacting with them, but that's a different topic for a different day. What I want to say is that what has been so interesting to me, the oldest ones are turning 13 weeks now. So they're just in that SIDS window.
Mhm.
What I can't get over is what I see when I look at them. So my friend Mel, who was on the podcast, so you guys know her, and she listens to the podcast, she's probably listened to this. I see her with her baby, who's just about Aiden's age, and I see just a woman that is glowing and a baby that is so content in his mother's arms. And I see a bond with them that you can only see from the outside, you know? This bond, it's like I see them fit within each other, and I see how her eyes like light up when she talks about him and his eyes light up when he sees her, and I see how her entire mind, body, and soul right now is existing in his presence, not in a way where she can't talk about other things. I mean, we were talking about war the other day, so trust me, we're talking about other things. But even when we're talking about war, like she glows with motherhood, and she glows with just like love and adoration for her baby in a way that is so primal and so beautiful for me to see on the outside. And it would have been so painful at one point, but my point is that I often wonder, why am I still suffering from Aiden's loss 4 years later almost? And I'm like, why did this take so much out of me? Why am I still dealing with the shit of his loss? Why is the detritus still coming back over and over and over again? And when I see Mel and her baby and the love that they have that is so primal and so beautiful and so natural, I'm like, that's why. Because yes, you only had 12 weeks together, but my God, the way Mel and this baby are so one.
It's like supernatural. It is.
It's like the 12 weeks, she is transformed as a person into a mother.
I remember seeing my friend Leah with her son for the first time. He was only a couple days old, and just the way she was with him was a way I had never seen her before.
Yeah.
She had never been someone's mom before.
Yeah.
And just seeing, I mean, she was a completely different person.
Yes.
She went from being the exact same person she'd always been to being, I was going to say her son's name, her son's mom. Like that. And that doesn't just go away
Right.
when the baby dies. And the other thing that I remember seeing in her is when you're postpartum, when you have a new baby, you are both so strong and so vulnerable.
Yeah.
You have something you love so much. You're also physically vulnerable from giving birth. And I remember thinking it was both beautiful and painful to see how vulnerable.
Yes.
When you love something that much, you're very, very, very vulnerable.
You have you have so much more to lose.
So much to lose. And I'm feeling in this moment like I'm so glad to have something to lose. Because for a long time, I didn't have anything to lose.
That's 100% true, but it also feels like you can't even notice it in yourself. Like, I bet that's how I looked with Aiden, and I didn't feel like that. You feel postpartum, and your milk is coming out of where, and you're exhausted, and your eyes are bleary, and all you can think about is he whimpering, is he this, or whatever. But from the outside, you see this bond that they have, and it's almost like a dance, the way they move and interact. It's like the way their arms go around each other.
They're like magnets.
They're magnets.
Like one moves and the other follows.
Yes.
Their eyes meet.
Yes, 100. It's like when you watch people fall in love, when you're in the love, you can't see it, but when you're out of it, you're like, ew, that's a little gross. Like, why are they so obsessed with each other? They're like, that's how it feels. So anyway, my point is, if you lost your baby and you are asking me, why 4 years later am I still so fucked up? Why is this baby still in my count when I look around my house? It's because the bond between mother and baby, or parent and child, is so strong and so biological, and you are so hardwired to love and connect and attach this baby that it is palpable on the outside to anyone watching. This is not just that you lost a baby and that's sad. It's like you lost
the you are when you're with them.
A universe. You lost so much. And the love, this is what it ultimately is that even though you think, well, we only had 1 day together, we only had 12 days together, we only had 12 months together, whatever amount of time you had together, it doesn't matter. because the love there and the connection is so strong. I see it from the outside. It's like iron. It's like steel. It is like locked in. 1 day, 12 months, it doesn't matter. But their bond is so powerful, and that's what I see. And so that's the loss that you had. It's not just the baby, it's not just yourself. It's like this innate biological connection that is gone. And so your body is constantly going to be looking for it because it's that strong and powerful.
I mean, they say grief is love, and I think that's like an easy thing to say, but like that is what it is.
It is.
The grief that you feel is the love that you feel. Like they are the same.
I am watching love. I am watching love. And it's like it's crazy. It's like so cool. It's so cool to see. So anyway, I feel like that has been really kind of in its own way, like beautiful and validating. Obviously, when I look at my own baby, I don't see it.
Yeah.
I maybe someone else out there who's looking at us will be like, oh, you guys.
You know, Judith, what I'm thinking about is that video that you got of you and Aiden at the coffee shop.
Yes.
You can see it in that video.
Alina.
You can see it in that video.
Yes.
We'll repost it to our stories when this episode comes out.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The short version, we did talk about this in the podcast already, but Judith went and she got security footage from the coffee shop that she went to with Aiden a couple days before he died. And so she got to kind of see her and Aiden from
the outside,
an outsider's perspective,
from a security camera.
When I look at it, like you can see it like that. You see it in that video, your face, his face, the way your heads turn to each other. You're just it's mindless. Like you're just doing mindless mom stuff, but it's just there. He's there. You're there together. Like
the way you like absentmindedly like touch their hair or you hold them close.
Yes.
So you know that they like their shoulder this way, or the way you turn them over, or the certain movement.
The certain movement of the stroller, the bopping. So that he falls asleep.
It's like there's something there that if you're looking at it, it's magic. And that is what I see when I look at Mel and her baby. And that reminds me and brings me comfort in a weird, twisted way that I will be fucked up for a very long time. And that the love there was real and strong and palpable and so powerful that it still impacts me 4 years later. And that's all I have got to say about being postpartum.
You know, it's so funny because I feel like this entire episode is us saying we are good.
Yeah.
And we're fucked up.
I think that's true.
Pretty much.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.
Yay!